Hello again, Dr. Bruce McNab, PhD, One Health Epidemiology with Novometrics Research Inc., a group of people trying to get communications out there about COVID-19. In the previous video, I talked about the two concepts that everyone on the planet can know to be true because they just make sense and have to be true. The first one being that viruses only obey laws of biology. They do not obey or care about our societal laws. Therefore, we must address the laws of biology through our behavior in order to manage COVID, okay? The second concept was that spread is inherently exponential, which means it can double and grow quickly, okay, in terms of the number of cases in a country or on the planet. And when it gets up to a lot of cases and is doubling in a short time, then it really get a lot of cases. So those are the two concepts we talked about in a previous video that people need to internalize and know to be true and then behave appropriately. In this video, I want to give some analogies. The first one is drinking or driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Let's say you go out for a few drinks and you're not wasted, you just, you know you're probably over the limit a bit, but you also believe you can drive home safely. And let's face it, most of the time you would be able to do that. Probability of getting caught stopped by a police officer when you're driving what appears to be quite normally is pretty good, and the probability of getting home safely without a problem is actually pretty good too. But if something goes wrong, such as, say, for example, a child running out in front of you from between parked cars, it's true, the kid shouldn't have done that. The parents should have had to control the kid. But because your response time was influenced from the alcohol, maybe you swerved fast enough to miss the kid, but then couldn't control the car because your actions were slow and went up onto the sidewalk and hit the kid's parents, maybe crippling the mother for life and killing the father. Okay. Now, in most societies, we would hold that driver responsible for having chosen to drive under the influence of alcohol. And they would have to pay a lot of money and maybe even go to jail for that, okay? Well, I suggest to you that that driver's choice to take that risk, okay, is analogous to a person choosing not to do their best to control the spread of COVID-19, such as choosing not to wear a mask in a crowded area or choosing not to distance from people, or choosing not to wash your hands as often as you should, because you may feel very strongly that you have the right to assemble and you have the right to wear what you want, and you really resent somebody else, some organization or authority telling you to wear a mask or telling you to distance. I understand all that. I don't want to do any of that stuff either, but you are contributing to the spread. You're contributing to the exponential spread if you don't do those things, take those precautions. It's analogous to driving under the influence of alcohol and hurting other people. Maybe you were hurt in the accident too. That's okay. You choose to take that risk. I don't care if you get hurt. But when you hurt others, that's the problem, okay? And arguably, spread of COVID through your choice not to behave appropriately, personally, by not wearing a mask, not distancing, your choice to do all those things that you know contribute to the spread, okay? It's actually maybe arguably worse than drinking under the influence because it spreads exponentially. So not only did those two people on the sidewalk get hurt and die, from that, 4 more people then next week die from trauma while walking down a sidewalk, and then the next week 8 more people die or get 4 get hurt and 4 die just walking down the sidewalk. That's exponential spread of the harm done, sort of analogous to if harm done from driving under the influence and hitting someone else was exponential. So arguably, not behaving appropriately with respect to, or choosing not to behave appropriately with respect to spread of COVID is actually worse than DUI. So consider that. Another analogy, more to do with exponential spread, would be a fire. Let's say someone's in your house and they light a match to light a candle or light their pipe or whatever, I don't know, and they give the match a shake to put it out and throw it in the waste paper basket. But unfortunately, it was too hot and started a fire in the waste paper basket. Okay, now you might choose to say, well, matches cause fires. I've got a fire going here right now in my waste paper basket. I'm gonna, from now on, no more matches can come into this house. Well, controlling matches is a good way to control and prevent fires, okay. But you've also got a fire going in your waste paper basket now, okay. You need to act on that now, okay. So you may say, well, the fire starts to grow and maybe gets up in the curtains. There's not a lot of point in arguing what brand of match started that or where that match came from. There's no point in blaming the manufacturer of that match or the transport company that brought the match to your store, okay? You've got a fire, you got to address the fire now, okay? And it starts to grow, get bigger, goes up the curtains, is reaching the ceiling. Not a lot of point in arguing over, well, this is a pretty big house, it's okay, it's only maybe 2% of the square footage in this house. Oh no, I think it's only 1%. I know it's even 0.5% of the square footage of this house. You got a fire. Work on it now while you can, okay? And there's no point in arguing, well, you know, most of these flames are caused by the match, but you know, we've had trouble every year with the wiring in this house, so maybe some of those flames are caused by short circuits and heating up wiring. Well, maybe some of them are. Maybe some of the flames you're calling caused by the match are actually caused by the wiring, and maybe some of the flames that you call caused by the wiring were actually caused by the match. It doesn't matter, okay? Either way, you gotta get some water on that fire, okay? And then say you call the fire department, and it takes them forever to get there because the fire truck wouldn't start because it wasn't maintained, because the hoses have holes in them, and there's only one person still employed at the fire hall because you fired everybody else and you didn't maintain the fire equipment. There's not a lot of point in blaming the manufacturer of the fire truck or the purchaser of the fire truck if you didn't maintain them and test them and keep them up so that they can get there in a hurry. So then you finally get some pails of water and fire extinguisher. Okay, and now the fire is up on the ceiling and, you know, it's really going. There's not a lot of point when you happen to look out across the street and see a house being robbed and people writing graffiti on it. Now, yeah, it's wrong to loot. It's wrong to rob. Those people are doing wrong, okay? But you got a bigger problem at the moment, okay? You need to focus on the fire now, okay? And now that it's a really big fire in your house, the whole room's engulfed and spreading to other rooms, you got a bigger problem, okay? And you can't get it out with buckets of water and a handheld fire extinguisher because it has spread exponentially. And you are wasting time worrying about things that had no effect on the biology, okay, of the chemistry of fire increasing exponentially, okay? So those are some analogies. We need to address the biology and we need to keep things under control because spread is exponential with respect to COVID. We need to prevent, detect, and protect with respect to COVID and fires for that matter too, and DUI. Thank you.